All right, so welcome to the library. Thank you guys for coming and watching this on the Google Classroom. I have some books that I want you guys to look at. So if you were here in the physical library, I would be showing you these three books. The first one is this one, The Tale of Peter Rabbit. The next one is also The Tale of Peter Rabbit. And then the other one is Tale of Peter Rabbit. So there's three different books, but before we start, I'm going to read one. But before we start that, let's get our hands ready. We got to do our hearts, and this is usually for kindergarten. And if you're in first grade and second grade, you probably remember this. Rule number 1. Listen when your teacher is talking. I hope I don't forget them. Rule number 2, follow directions quickly. Let's do that one again. Rule number 2, I know you guys like this one. Follow directions quickly. Rule number 3, respect others, respect yourself, respect our school. Rule number 4, raise your hand to speak or stand. And rule number 5, be safe, be kind. Oh my gosh, I forgot it. Be safe, be kind, be honest. I hope you guys remembered. All right, so we have three different books of The Tale of Peter Rabbit, and they all have different covers. It could be because they have different publishers. Remember, the publisher is the company that puts the book together. So this book, this old looking one, the publisher is Grosset and Dunlap, and we're going to check on the copyright page to see when it was made or when it was born. And on this copyright page in real tiny writing, it says 1955. So this book is pretty old, 1955. This book is published by Scholastic. It says right there at the bottom, Scholastic. And the publishing page is usually on the front, but this one has it on the back. And this book is published in 1986. Don't mind the nails, you know, you can't get a manicure. And this one is also by Scholastic. It was donated by the Coverly PTA, so thank you. This one is published in September 1990. This is an old book. This one was published in also 1986, so it's just a reprint of this one. This one is just a different, this is a board book. So for my younger kiddies. So as far as which one do I want to read to you, I think this one and this one have the same pictures. This one is a lot older. Look at the photographs on this one. So maybe I'll pick the one that's more likely like the movie that I show you guys. So here's The Tale of Peter Rabbit. And I used to know this by heart. Here we go. Once upon a time, there were 4 little rabbits, and their names were Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter. They lived with their mother in a sandbank underneath the root of a very big fir tree. So I just want to read you this story for fun because Easter just passed, and we did some of you guys did Easter egg hunts at home. Now, my dears, said old Mrs. Rabbit one morning, you may go into the fields or down the lanes, but don't go into Mr. McGregor's garden. Your father had an accident there. And Peter says he was put in a pie by Mr. McGregor. And that's what she says also. He was put in a pie by Mrs. McGregor. Now run along and don't get into mischief. That means into trouble. I am going out. Then old Mrs. Rabbit took a basket and her umbrella and went through the woods to the baker's. She bought a loaf of brown bread and 5 currant buns. Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail, who were good little bunnies, went down the lane to gather blackberries. Where is Peter? But Peter, who was very naughty, ran straight away to Mr. McGregor's garden and squeezed under the gate. Goodness. First he ate some lettuces and some French beans, then he ate radishes, then he was feeling rather sick. He went to go get some parsley. You guys can shake your head too, like, oh my gosh, he squeezed under the gate. He didn't listen to his mom. Now, when you don't listen to your parents or whoever you live with, when you don't listen to them, something bad happens. So we'll see what happens to Peter. but round the end of a cucumber frame, whom should he meet but Mr. McGregor? Now, Mr. McGregor, a long time ago, and I think I forgot to read this part. Oh, no, I did read it. He got the dad, he caught him, gave it to the wife, and she made a pie out of him. You know, like, have you ever had a chicken pot pie? But this one was a rabbit pot pie, and they ate it. So they ate the dad. So that's why the mom says, don't go over there because they might put you into a pie. Well, he didn't listen. Mr. McGregor was on his hands and knees planting out young cabbages, but he jumped up and ran after Peter, waving a rake and calling out, "Stop, thief!" Now, if you don't know what the word thief is somebody that steals something. And he's stealing the vegetables. That's not his garden. Peter was most dreadfully frightened. He rushed all over the garden, for he had forgotten the way back to the gate. So there's the thing that's bad that's happening to him. He lost one of his shoes among the cabbages and the other shoe amongst the potatoes. Oh, and he also lost his shoes. After losing them, he ran on 4 legs and went faster, so that I think he might have gotten away altogether if he had not unfortunately run into a gooseberry net. So then he got caught in the net. One of the buttons got caught. And he was about to give up. And then the sparrows came by and were encouraging him to get out. Come on, Peter, they were saying. Come on, you need to get out. Should Peter have given up? Should he give up? Or should he try to come out of that net? He should try to come out of that net. Well, he finally did. He took off his little jacket. And Mr. McGregor came up and he almost caught him. He rushed into a tool shed and he jumped into a... Oh my gosh, I'm not even reading it. Hold on. He jumped into a can. The great thing was that he jumped into the can, but the bad thing is that the can was full of water. Mr. McGregor was looking for him everywhere and he couldn't find him. Now, because that can was full of water, Peter sneezed. Achoo! Mr. McGregor started to go after him again, and he tried to put his foot on Peter, but he jumped out of the window and 3 pots fell down. The window was too small for Mr. McGregor, and he was tired of running after Peter, so he went back to his work. Peter sat down to rest. He was so out of breath, trembling with fright, and he didn't even have the idea of which way to go, and he was so wet from sitting in that can. After some time, he was wandering around, not very fast, and he started to look around. What is he looking for? He's looking for the gate. He's looking for the way out. I bet he's probably thinking, I should have listened to my mom. He found a door in the wall, but it was locked, and there was no room for a fat little rabbit to squeeze underneath. And why was he fat? Because he was eating a bunch of vegetables he shouldn't have been eating. An old mouse was running in and out over the stone doorstep, carrying peas and beans to her family in the woods. Peter asked her for the way, but she had a large pea in her mouth that she could not answer. She only shook her head at him. Peter began to cry. Now, do you guys feel sorry for Peter right now? Maybe some of you do, because he's lost. He made a mistake. And then some of you probably don't feel sorry for him because, you know what? He straight out did not listen to his mom. He put himself in danger. Then he tried to find his way straight across the garden, but he became more and more puzzled. Presently, he came to a pond where Mr. McGregor filled his water cans. A white cat was staring at some goldfish, and she sat very still. Peter thought it best to go away without speaking to the cat. He had heard about cats from his cousin, Benjamin Bunny. Now, Benjamin Bunny, that's another one that doesn't listen to his dad. And maybe we'll read another story about Benjamin Bunny another time. He went back towards the tool shed, but suddenly, quite close to him, he heard a noise. Scritch, scratch, scritch, scratch. Peter scuttered underneath the bushes. But presently, as nothing happened, he came out, climbed up on a wheelbarrow, and peeped over. The first thing he saw was Mr. McGregor. His back was turned towards Peter, and beyond Mr. McGregor was the gate. Peter got down very quietly off the wheelbarrow and started running as fast as he could along a straight walk behind some black currant bushes. Mr. McGregor caught sight of him out of the corner, but Peter did not care. He slipped under that gate and was safe at last in the woods outside the garden. Mr. McGregor hung up the little jacket and shoes for a scarecrow to frighten the blackbirds. Peter never stopped running or looked behind him until he got home under the big fir tree. So he lost his clothes. He almost got killed by Mr. McGregor. Like all these bad things. I wonder what's going to happen when he gets home. He was so tired he flopped down upon the nice soft sand on the floor of the rabbit hole and shut his eyes. His mother was busy cooking. She wondered what he had done with his clothes. It was a second little jacket and pair of shoes that Peter had lost at night. I am sorry to say that Peter was not feeling very well during that evening, so he even got sick. His mother put him to bed and made him some chamomile tea, and she gave a dose of it to Peter. So I think she gave him some medicine. Now, in the movie that I will post on the Google Classroom, there's going to be a picture right here. A photograph, or, well, I guess it's more like a drawing. And maybe in one of the other books it'll have it. But it will have it in the movie. And you get to see who is in that picture. But Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Cottontail had bread and milk and blackberries for supper. So Peter went to bed with no supper because his stomach was hurting. And the girl bunnies, they had dessert. And this is the tale of Peter Rabbit. And if you like the story, clap. All right, so let me check this book out. Oh no! So look, this is the other book, the older book, and I was hoping they would have that picture. When I put the movie on the Google Classroom, the link to the movie, for your movie party, I will. You'll get to see who's in that picture, and then maybe you can comment in the comments who is in that picture. Cool. So let me show you what this one looks like. Anyways, that's the tale of Peter Rabbit. Oh my goodness, I forgot to tell you that I have permission to read these books. The permission is by Scholastic. So whenever you read a book and you record it online, you need to have permission from the publisher to read the books. And right now, during this time, we have the permission from Scholastic to read these books online. And record them. So anyways, I want you guys to have a great day. You guys did great. I'm going to give you 5 hearts, and I will be posting that movie link soon. Love you guys.